Hey all, Steve from GuitarNiche here. Well, we get to do one of my favorite things, which is adjust the truss rod that's at the end of the neck. So, on the bench we have a lovely American Vintage II 61 reissue Strat in Fiesta Red. It's actually a really nice guitar. And what I've just done here is relax the strings. These strings are brand spanking new, so they have all the life ahead of them. The point here is I'm going to be working with something that is fresh, unadulterated, and it's going to give me the maximum lifespan of whatever the instrument has to offer, not compromise strings which have too much tension. Okay, so I'm going to crack these neck screws here. Just like that. And then I'll use my handy dandy drill. Back out two opposing kitty corner screws. Put an elastic band around those two, and then back out the other two and control the slack on those screws with the elastic band like so. Pretty easy, huh? Okay, now I'm going to carefully turn that over. Some of the strings might pop out because it's the vintage tuners. Speaking of which, I'm going to put a capo on over the nut to control some of that stuff. There we go. Okay. So while we're here, some kind of scribble on the end there. September 29, 2003. So this is pretty reasonable evidence of recent vintage, you might say, and the body says October 13, 2023. But you'll notice that the screws here are not popping up through the body, not giving me grief and stuff like that. Anyway, now before I continue, I want to mention that the neck relief measured about 25 to 30 thou, which is too much, and that was through the middle of the neck around the 7th to 9th fret area. I want to get that down to 10 thou or less, which means giving this a tiny crank. You can feel the resistance. You know, if you're torquing on that, you're not doing it right. Just a slight tweak. And then I'm going to pop the neck back on, give this a careful turn, get my carpet in place there. Okay. Relieve those two outer screws, give them a little start. Now, this being a US made instrument has certain benefits in that the tolerances and the machining of things is pretty fine. In other words, I'm not dealing with a lot of unnecessary garbage I would get from lesser instruments and things, which is wonderful, by the way. Anyway, the next step is to see what we have in terms of relief now. All right, so with the strings at pitch, the relief measures, I would say roughly around 8 thou or so, which is within tolerance. Now the instrument ultimately is going to dictate what the proper relief is for it. It has a lot to do with the radius, the player, the string gauge, the type of strings, whole lot of variables there, right? So they all impact how the instrument is going to wind up in the real world in terms of ultimate playability and things like that. But at first glance, things have worked out just fine. Now, the trick here, what I want to share, is I'm going to leave this here. By the way, I will make sure that that's torqued down. Good. I'm going to leave this as is with the two outer screws still exposed like this, because if I have to take the neck off again to make a super fine adjustment, I want to make sure that the integrity of the bolt holes is as complete as possible. So I'll leave that as is, and you have to trust me on this one. Just using the two bolts, neck bolts as is absolutely fine when you're reining in, when you're trying to dial in those precision measurements and stuff. When we get down to the last few minuscule adjustments, these two bolts here will do just fine. Okay, anyway, that's my story. I hope you got something out of that. That's how to wrangle a neck removal and butt end adjustment, as they call it, on a vintage style Strat neck, and away we go. Anyway, as always, play loud, have fun, have a great day, like and subscribe. Thanks for coming out. Cheers.